Namaste. Welcome to Third Age Yoga. I'm Andy Gillitz, and I'm going to show you a safe, comfortable way to get down to and up from your yoga mat, either unassisted or using a chair as a helper. This is such a critical skill as we age, the ability not only to get down to the ground, but to come up again is critical to staying mobile, independent, keeping us moving. To that point, I love to share a story about the traditional people of the Japanese island of Okinawa. This is a place where people regularly live to be 100 and beyond. And one reason for that is because they don't use chairs. They sit on floor mats called tatami, and they get down to and up from those floor mats about 40 times a day, no matter how old you are. That will keep you nimble and keep you mobile and moving. So with that, how do we stay safe and comfortable? For me, the key is to have a healthy postural alignment, a healthy alignment of our bones as we move, and also to move gradually and mindfully. So I know we've all done this, but those kind of hurried, kind of unthinking, maybe jerky movements, have you ever noticed those are the ones that maybe can lead to accidents, or that's when you pull something or you wrench something or strain something? Moving mindfully, keeping your mind on the present moment, the motion you're doing, not worrying about the one that came before or the one that will come next, will help to keep you safe and calm as you move. As we move to the floor and back up again, we are going to get a bonus. We are going to practice 4 very classic yoga poses as we go. And the first one is called mountain pose. In Sanskrit, that name is Tadasana. Our mountain pose is our tallest, healthiest standing posture. From there, we will come to our knees and find tabletop pose in yoga. Tabletop pose is a strong pose on the hands and knees. From there, we will come to sit and do an alert seated posture called staff pose or Dandasana in Sanskrit. And from there, we'll ease ourselves down to our back, where I'm going to show you the classic yoga relaxation posture called Shavasana. So, let us begin. Let's always start with our tallest, healthiest posture. So I am going to invite you to put your feet about hip width apart. And what do I mean by that? You want these are our hip bones. Maybe you can feel them, maybe you can't, does not matter, but they're somewhere in here. And if I kind of drew a line down my legs, I kind of want the middle of my feet in line with my hips, and feel it for yourself. If your feet are a little too wide, somehow that doesn't feel quite right. It's because your hip joints are bending outward then. They're not really straight forward. And too close together, this is really hard, huh? Because what do I do now with this hunk on the inside of my knees? So just about hip width apart, and outsides parallel. So we want our feet straight facing forward with the outsides parallel. That will keep us stable and allow us to make contact with the ground with the whole sole of our foot. The more of our foot we have on the ground, guess what? The more stable we are. We're going to stack our knees over our ankles. We're growing like a mountain, lengthening through our thighs. And I'm going to invite you now to take the very tops of your thighs just back a little in a very small movement. In yoga, very tiny movements have big benefits. So let me show you what that looks like from the side. I'm going to bring the tops of my thigh bones very slightly back. Guess what that does? It lifts the very bottom of my abdomen, and it allows this curve in my spine to take its most natural alignment. This is my lumbar curve. So just like that, let's grow through our side body. And now, here is our breastbone. It's kind of a rectangle. So let's take the top of our breastbone back as we bring the bottoms of our shoulder blades in toward the front of our bodies. Let me show you from the side. Top of the breastbone gently comes back as I bring the bottom of my shoulder blades in toward the front of my body. That encourages my shoulders to come back. My shoulders then stack above my hips. You know how that goes. Knees above the ankles, hips above the knees, shoulders above the hips. And what else does that do for me? With my shoulders back, my chest is open and I can breathe better. So, you know, this slumping thing, guess what happens when you round your shoulders? Your chest compresses and you can't take in as much air or let out as much air. So, open chest is a wonderful feeling. And finally, let's stack our ears above our shoulders. So what we don't want is this. My head is a 12-pound bowling ball, and now I've got the wrong muscles doing the job. My poor little neck muscles and my little vertebrae up here are trying to hold this bowling ball up. That does not work. This is a healthy, tall posture. I think as we get older, I've seen actual sequences of illustrations of this. We tend to begin to lean forward in our posture. So we want to kind of counteract that a little bit, and let me show you. So as we get older and older and older, everything starts leaning and leaning, and guess what? Finally, our posture is just perfect for that walker. We don't want that. So this is our tall, healthy mountain posture. From here, we're going to come down to our hands and knees. So let me show you from the side. And you can watch this video once and just watch me do this, and then maybe the second time you watch it, you'll come along with me, or come along with me now, whatever is comfortable for you. So here we go. I'm going to bend my knees, but to do that, I'm going to fold from my hip creases. My hip creases are the place where my legs meet my body. So once again, guess what I'm not doing? I'm going to straighten out a minute here for you. I'm not bending by rounding my back and rounding my shoulders. I'm keeping my spine nice and long and straight, the way that Mother Nature meant for it to be. I'm going to fold from my hip creases just like an envelope, bend my knees, and bring my buttocks back and out. And you notice I'm kind of squatting a little bit. That keeps my back nice and straight. I've got my head between my shoulders, so I'm not hanging, nor is my head snapped back. Just neutral. And now I'm just going to continue to squat until my fingertips or fists find the mat. And now I'm going to come down by bringing my right leg back and my right knee to the ground. I'll give you a chance to get here. And now I can bring my left knee down beside my right knee and my palms to the mat or fists. If your wrists don't feel good, remember that you can use your fist to take pressure off your wrists. By putting your palms on the mat, we're doing good things for our wrists by strengthening them. I'm going to walk my knees forward and find my yoga tabletop pose. So I'm showing you from the side so that you can see the healthy shape that I'm making with my posture. I've got my knees under my hips, just like the four legs of a table. And I've got my wrists under my shoulders. So here is my tabletop, and I want to make a nice long line from my tailbone back in here out through the crown of my head. So what does that mean? First of all, if I look between my legs, I don't want to see my toes. I want my feet in line with my knees, my ankles in line with my knees. And then, so that I'm not hanging my head or snapping it back, I'm just looking right here in this area between my hands. And I'm going to, remember I said about bringing the bottoms of our shoulder blades in toward the front of our bodies? In order to avoid rounding like this, it's hard, isn't it? As we get older, we're unlearning a lifetime of postural habits. But if I bring my shoulders, let them ride down my back and bring the bottoms in a little bit closer to my chest, then I feel like my spine is in a very healthy place. Here we are on our hands and knees. This is a good time for me anyway, just to take a bit of a breath. And then as you're ready, let's walk our knees to the right. Okay, we're a little off kilter now, but we'll take care of that. And I'm going to come to rest on the outside of my left thigh, just like so. And now all I have to do is just gently turn my legs all the way to the left, and I am down seated on my mat. I hope that you've got your mat the long way so that you can face me, but I'd like you to see this from the side, and that way you'll see the postural alignment that we're looking for. So I always want to keep myself in alignment. My knees over my ankles, my hips over my knees, my shoulders over my hips, my ears over my shoulders. And now let us find a classic alert seated pose called staff pose or Dandasana. I mentioned that before. This is called an alert seated pose because guess what? I'm not doing this. I'm alert. My muscles are working. I've got a little energy. And how do we get there? I am sitting not on my tailbone like so, but on my sitting bones, which are lower. And let me just quickly show you where they are. And if you will pardon the view for a moment, our sitting bones are down here someplace. So think about that. It's where we have all those large gluteal muscles to provide support and cushioning for us. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to grow tall like a mountain, just as I did when we stood up. Through my side body, I'm going to bring the top of my breastbone back as I bring my shoulder blades, the bottoms, closer in toward the front of my body. My shoulders come back. I can breathe. My ears are over my shoulders, and my toes are pointed to the heavens. So my foot is at about a right angle to the mat, as is my torso. This is staff pose. Another good time to take a breath. Now I'd like to show you how to ease down to your back and enjoy Shavasana, the classic yoga relaxation pose. So from staff pose, and I want you to feel free to be supported. You know, for many of us, it's hard to maintain this straight, alert back for a long time. And so why not make it easy? Just support yourself. That way you can keep your chest open and breathe well, but you're comfortable. You can sit for a while in this alert way. So from here, let us ease on down to our back. And I'm going to just come a little forward on my mat. And I am just going to walk my hands back until my elbows are on the mat. And now I can ease my upper back down to the mat and rest my head on the mat. And again, I'm trying to keep my ears over my shoulders. So I really want the back of my head on the mat, not necessarily the top of my head. Just like this. If you think about your chin being kind of in a neutral position, not up, not in toward your chest, that helps you to have a nice healthy position for your head. That keeps these vertebrae at the top of your back and the bottom of your neck, it keeps them comfortable and healthfully aligned. If you would be more comfortable, I encourage you, use a pillow under your head and neck if you would like. And if your low back does not feel comfortable on the mat, Often people will simply put a folded towel under their low back. You can fold a towel once or twice to give yourself however much cushioning is comfortable for you. The point of relaxation is to be comfortable, isn't it? And so the classic yoga relaxation pose, Shavasana, is a position in which our muscles don't work. We can't relax if our muscles are hard at work. So really, it's just a matter of splaying your legs and arms out and just finding wherever is comfortable. I love to take a little bit of time to fidget and get myself comfortable so that I can enjoy stillness for a few minutes in this relaxed posture. This, by the way, is a very valid and classic yoga posture. Here we are, we've relaxed, and now it's time to get up from our mat. And how do we do that? We're going to take a return trip that begins in a slightly different way from the trip down. So from Shavasana, I'm going to bend my knees and bring my knees together so that they're kind of all one unit. My two legs are operating as one unit. And now just gently, I'm going to roll to my right. I'm just going to let my knees fall to the right, kind of in the fetal position. And I'm going to bring my left arm across my body and place my left palm somewhere near my shoulder. Why do I want to do this? Because now I am ready to use my left palm to press myself up. I'm going to bring my right palm beside it, and now I can walk my palms to an upright position. My knees, if you notice, are bent to the left now, and I'm going to do a little bit of a switch. I'm now going to just bend them to the right, like so. So take a moment to find that position. It can be a little confusing sometimes, but if you think about kind of resting the top of your left foot on the outside of your right ankle, you'll kind of have it. Your left hand can just rest outside the left side of your body. And now we're going to retrace our journey. So now I'm going to find my hands and knees again, my tabletop pose, by simply bringing my right arm around, fingertips, fists, palms, whatever is comfortable for you. Yoga is meant to be a journey through our comfort zone. It should not hurt. So move mindfully and keep yourself comfortable. Above all, think about how you feel with each movement and in each pose. If you feel good, you've got it. If you don't feel good, if things hurt, if you're uncomfortable, it's one thing to feel a healthy stretch or a little bit of a challenge, but discomfort is another thing. Think about how you can adjust to keep yourself comfortable. So here I go. Now I can press through my palms or fists to come back to my knees. Remember this? We were here before on our way down. Now I'm going to walk my knees to the left. Find my tabletop position again. And notice what I am trying to do is really think about what my alignment is. Are my wrists under my shoulders? Are my knees under my hips? How's my back? Does it feel nice and long and straight? Good. Now I'm going to come up by bringing my fingertips up or to my fists, and just as I did when I came down, I'm going to bring my left foot somewhere near my left hand. Precision is not the name of the game here. What is important is to keep your hips square and facing forward. And now, from my fingertips or fists, I can rise onto my right toes, and just like I did when I was coming down, I can walk forward, rise halfway, just halfway, keeping your knees bent a little bit, buttocks out and back, and rising slowly will give your blood pressure a chance to equalize. Okay, now after a nice little breath in between, a little bit of a pause, I can rise again to my mountain pose. And that is a safe and comfortable way to come down to and up from your mat. Now, what if you are a little older, or you know someone who is a little older? And by that I mean, for many people, that might be perhaps into one's 80s. Here is a way to get down using a chair as an assistant. So, what a surprise, I have a chair. And a chair without arms is usually the best thing, but it really doesn't matter. You want to have at least the front legs of the chair on the yoga mat so that the front legs will stick and you'll get leverage so that you can use that chair to support you as you come down and up. So simple. Let us do it together. I'm going to find my mountain pose in front of my chair, and just as I did without the chair, I'm going to fold from my hip creases, bringing my buttocks back and out, and find the sides of the seat of the chair, and I'm going to press my hands into my chair. Now I can bring my right foot back, bring my right knee to the ground, bring my left knee down beside it, and now I can find my tabletop. I may want to back up a little bit. That's fine. Mindfully, gradually, enjoy yourself as you go. And now I can come back up. So once again, I'm going to rise to my knees, find my chair, and really use it. It's really going to help me. I'm going to bring my left foot close to the chair, come up on my right toes, come up like so, and just walk my foot forward. I'm still folded from my hip creases, my buttocks is still bent, and again, I want to take a little pause and just very gradually and mindfully rise back to mountain pose. And that is a safe, comfortable way to get down to and up from the ground. I practice that several times a day. It really keeps me feeling good, and I hope it will for you too. So until next time, namaste. May the light in you shine in me, and may the light in me shine in you.